The day my sister kicked me out of our childhood home, she smiled like she had finally won a war I never even knew we were fighting. I stood outside with my suitcase, watching the front door slam in my face, the same door we once decorated together with holiday lights. My sister Mila didn't just steal my inheritance, she stole the last piece of family I had left. But the universe has a way of circling back, because the next time she saw me, I wasn't the girl she betrayed. I was the investor her billionaire boss desperately needed. My name is Arya, and I always believed that family meant loyalty, protection, and unconditional love. But that belief shattered the day our father died. He left behind a small house, some savings, and a lifetime of memories. It wasn't much, but it was enough to help me restart my life after losing my job. At least that's what I thought. Until Mila walked into the lawyer's office dressed like she was attending a royal coronation, not a will reading. She sat beside me, wearing a smirk that made my stomach twist. Mila had always been the golden child. Charming, confident, always admired by everyone. I was the quiet one. The girl who stayed behind to take care of Dad while she chased glamorous jobs and wealth. Honestly, Arya, she whispered, I hope Dad left you something useful, so you don't struggle forever. Her voice was soft, but her words cut deep. Before I could reply, the lawyer cleared his throat. As per Mr. Thompson's will, the lawyer began, the house and the savings account will go to his daughter. I smiled faintly. Dad always believed in fairness. Then the lawyer continued, to Mila Thompson. My heart stopped. My ears rang. I blinked hard, thinking I misheard. Mila gasped dramatically, fake innocence radiating from her like perfume. Oh my God. Really? Dad left everything to me? Arya, I'm so shocked. Shocked. She was glowing. I leaned forward. There must be a mistake, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I was the one taking care of Dad for the last 4 years. The lawyer handed me a sealed letter. Your father wrote this for you. With trembling fingers, I opened it. His handwriting hit me first. Messy, soft, familiar. Arya, I know this will hurt, but you've spent your whole life sacrificing for others. It's time for you to build your own path, far away from this house. I believe you will find something greater than inheritance. My vision blurred. He wanted me to be free, but freedom without stability felt like abandonment, and Mila knew it. That same night, she showed her true colors. She tossed my clothes into a suitcase, marched to my room, and stood with her hands on her hips like a queen dismissing a servant. You heard Dad. It's my house now, she said. And honestly, Arya, you've been living here rent-free for too long. It's time you figure out life on your own. Are you kicking me out? I whispered. She shrugged. Not kicking, just encouraging. Encouraging? She shoved the suitcase at me so hard I almost fell. Outside, the cold wind hit my face. I stared at the house, the home I helped take care of, slowly fading behind the locked door. My heart cracked in ways I never expected. I walked to the bus stop with nowhere to go, holding onto my suitcase like it was the only thing left tethering me to reality. I kept replaying everything Dad wrote. Build your own path. But how do you build when someone you love takes away your foundation? For the first week, I slept on a friend's couch, trying to figure out what to do next. My savings were limited. My job hunt wasn't going well, and I felt like a ghost drifting through my own life. Every time my phone buzzed, I hoped it was Mila apologizing, but she never called. Not even once. Instead, I saw her social media posts, luxury brunches, designer bags, and captions like, hard work pays off. Hard work? She hadn't worked a real job in years. One night, while scrolling through job listings, I found an opening at a startup event as a temporary assistant. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid. The event was being hosted by Phoenix Capital, the fastest-growing investment company in the state, led by a young billionaire CEO named Adrian Cole. Rumor had it he was ruthless in business but respected talent when he saw it. I didn't have anything to lose, so I applied. When I arrived at the event, the world seemed brighter, louder, and bigger than anything I'd been part of recently. Glass walls, golden lights, expensive suits, everything screamed power. I stood there in my borrowed blouse and cleaned-up sneakers, feeling completely out of place. Then I spotted her. Mila, dressed in a red designer dress, hair perfectly curled, laughing with a group of executives. I froze. Of course, Mila worked for Phoenix Capital as an executive assistant, her glamorous job. She turned and saw me. Her expression shifted from surprise to irritation. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. I got hired for the event," I said quietly. "As what? A server?" Her friends giggled. Before I could respond, a voice behind us said, "Is there a problem here?" We both turned. Adrian Cole, the CEO himself, stood there, sharp-featured and intimidatingly calm. Mila instantly switched to her sweet persona. "Not at all, Mr. Cole," she said. "Just dealing with my sister." "Sister?" he repeated, looking at me with genuine curiosity. "Yes," she said quickly. "She's unemployed." Heat crawled up my neck. I opened my mouth to defend myself, but Adrian raised a hand. "Unemployed doesn't mean unskilled," he said. His voice was smooth, analytical. "What's your background, Miss Aria?" I answered softly. She glared at me like I had no right to speak, but Adrian nodded thoughtfully. "I expect sharp minds around me." Mila's smile trembled. What none of them knew, not even Adrian, was that within a few months, fate would twist the entire playing field. Mila would still be working under him, but I wouldn't be the girl she mocked, the girl she kicked out, or the girl with nowhere to go. I would be the anonymous investor signing a partnership deal with Phoenix Capital. And when she finally realized the truth, her face would tell a story I would never forget. The next morning, I woke up in the cramped rented room that had become my refuge after being kicked out of my own family home. Sunlight filtered through the thin curtains, dust floating in the air like tiny, mocking reminders of how far I had fallen. My sister Maya had made sure of that. She didn't just steal my inheritance, she made certain that every avenue of support was cut off. After she threw me out, she made a few strategic phone calls to relatives, to family friends, to anyone who might have offered me a couch or a meal. Her message was simple: don't help her. She's trying to manipulate her way back into the money. The fact that the money had always been legally mine didn't matter. The lie spread quickly, and soon I was alone. But she underestimated something: my ability to rebuild from nothing. I pulled on my only ironed shirt, tied my hair back, and stared at myself in the mirror. "No one is coming to save you," I whispered. "So you save yourself." I took my worn-out bag and walked out into the humid morning toward the bus stop. Today was the interview I had secured after weeks of relentless applications. A junior administrative job at Stellar Dynamics, one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the city. The salary wasn't huge, but the environment was known for growth. And growth was what I needed. When I arrived at the lobby, sleek floors, tall glass windows, and people in formal outfits made me feel small. But I stood upright and approached the reception. "I'm here for the administrative assistant interview," I said. The receptionist smiled and guided me upstairs. I walked into the empty meeting room and sat down, clutching my folder, taking slow breaths. 5 minutes later, the door opened, and my heart dropped. Maya walked in. My sister, the woman who stole my inheritance, the woman who kicked me out. She froze for a second too, then recovered with a cold, practiced smile. "Well, well," she said, closing the door behind her. "Look who crawled back into civilization." My jaw tightened. "I didn't know you worked here." "Oh, I do more than work here," she said smugly. "I'm the executive assistant to the CEO." She tapped her heels against the floor. "Which means I control a lot." Her eyes skimmed over my outfit, lingering on the scuffed shoes. "This job must be really important to you," she said. "You look like you used every drop of your last savings to get here." She wasn't wrong, but I stayed silent. Maya crossed her arms. "But here's the thing. I can't have you working in the same building as me. It's embarrassing. People here have standards." She pulled out her phone, pretending to check something. "So, I'll make it simple. You can stand up, walk out, and save both of us trouble." "No," I said firmly. "I earned this interview." Her eyebrow twitched. "You're refusing?" Her smile turned razor sharp. "Then get ready for the most humiliating 5 minutes of your life." The interview panel entered. 3 managers sat across from me. Maya stood in the corner with a clipboard, pretending to assist. But really, she was waiting for her moment. The questions began. At first, I answered confidently, but every time I began to speak, Maya coughed loudly, shuffled papers, or whispered to one of the interviewers, making me flustered. When they asked about my previous experience, Maya cut in with a fake sweet tone. "You can skip that question. She's been unemployed for years. Total lack of stability." Heat crept up my neck. "That's not true," I said. Maya laughed. "Please, she couldn't even manage her own finances. Imagine trusting her with company documents." One of the managers frowned but didn't interrupt her. She had authority here, and she was abusing it. When the panel stepped outside to deliberate, Maya leaned across the table toward me. "You should have walked out," she said. "Now you just embarrassed yourself. And guess what? I'll make sure you never get hired here, or anywhere else respectable." I swallowed the lump in my throat but refused to cry in front of her. "You stole my inheritance," I said quietly. "You kicked me out. What else do you want?" Maya smirked. "Simple. I want you gone from my life, and beneath me, forever." The panel returned. One of them spoke. "Thank you for coming, but we won't be moving forward with your application." Maya's victorious grin said everything. I stood, gathered my things, and walked out without looking back. The moment I stepped into the elevator, I finally let a tear fall. But just one. As I exited the building, a gust of cold wind hit my face, almost like it was trying to wake me up. And it did. Because for the first time, I didn't feel defeated. I felt angry. And anger, for people like Maya, was dangerous. 3 months later, that same building, those same floors, and that same sister would be standing in front of me again. But this time, she wouldn't be the one in control. Because by then, I would be the one signing her boss's paycheck, and she would have no idea it was coming. For 2 days after the disastrous interview, I barely slept. I lay awake in my tiny rented room replaying everything in my mind: my sister's smirk, the humiliation, the closed doors. But on the third morning, something inside me snapped, not in defeat, but in determination. "If she won't let me climb the stairs," I told myself, "I'll build a whole new building." And that's exactly what I started doing. I opened my old laptop, the one missing the letter N, and started searching for remote freelance work, data entry, scheduling, online tutoring, anything to get me moving. One tutoring platform accepted my application within 48 hours. It wasn't much, but it was something. Since I was good at English and math, I began working with international students online. To my surprise, I was really good at it. Parents loved my teaching style: clear, patient, firm when needed. Soon, I had more students than hours in the day. Within 4 weeks, I had earned enough to pay for a better room. Within 8 weeks, I bought a new laptop. Within 12 weeks, I started thinking bigger than tutoring. One of the parents, a woman named Elena, changed everything. Her son Leo was one of my brightest students. One evening after class, she asked, "Have you ever considered doing more than tutoring?" I laughed. "Like what?" She replied, "You're not just teaching. You're coaching students. You're developing their confidence. Have you thought about creating something scalable?" That word, scalable, was foreign to me then, but it stuck. Elena introduced me to a friend of hers, a businessman looking to invest in education-based tech project. His name was Victor Hale, the Victor Hale, a billionaire tech investor known across the country for transforming small ideas into global brands. When Elena first mentioned him, I nearly dropped my tea. "You want me to talk to him?" I stammered. She smiled. "He's very selective, but he trusts my judgment, and I think you're worth his time." For the first time in months, I felt something spark inside me, mixed with fire. 2 weeks later, I walked into a private cafe to meet Victor. He was tall, sharply dressed, with intelligent eyes that missed nothing. "You must be Arya," he said as he shook my hand. "Elena speaks very highly of you." I tried not to squeak. "Thank you for meeting me." We sat, and he gestured for me to begin. "So tell me," he said, "what do you want to build?" For a second, my mind went blank. What did I want to build? Then all the frustration, humiliation, and hunger for change erupted into words. "I want to build a learning platform," I said. "One that helps students who struggle academically but have potential. Something that combines personalized teaching, emotional coaching, and progress tracking. Something that treats students as humans, not numbers." I kept talking about kids who lacked confidence, teachers who lacked time, and parents who lacked tools to help their children succeed. I talked about the system failing kids and how a platform built on empathy and personalization could change lives. When I finished, the cafe was silent. Victor leaned back, studying me. "Do you have a name for this platform?" he asked. "No," I admitted. "Just an idea." He smiled slowly. "Well then, let's turn your idea into something real." My breath caught. "You mean—" "Yes, I'll fund it," he said, "but I need you as the CEO. It has to be your vision." For the first time in years, I felt powerful, like my voice mattered. like my existence mattered. I shook his hand again. Then let's build it. Within 3 months, we launched Lumi Learn, an online learning and mentorship platform designed for struggling students. I worked day and night, sometimes 16 hours at a stretch. I hired a small team, wrote lesson scripts, filmed demos, and personally onboarded our first 50 students. And then the miracle happened. LumiLearn went viral. Parents loved it. Schools wanted to partner. Blogs wrote about us. Within 6 months, we had over 40,000 active users. Within 9 months, we expanded internationally. Within 1 year, LumiLearn was valued at $60 million. And through all of this success, Maya never knew. Not a whisper. Not a rumor. Not a clue. She was too busy living her corporate queen life at Stellar Dynamics, bragging about her job title and her fake influence. Meanwhile, I was quietly rising, step by brick, success by success, and the universe, in its irony, was preparing a delicious twist. One evening, Victor called me. "There's a company in the city that wants to pitch for investment," he said. "A tech company. Stellar Dynamics. Sound familiar?" My blood turned to ice. Stellar Dynamics. My sister's workplace, the same place she humiliated me. Victor continued, "They're looking for a major investor to expand their AI education tools. I think LumiLearn could benefit from their technology too. We should attend the pitch." I inhaled slowly, fighting a smile. "Of course," I said. "Let's meet them." Victor added, "One more thing. They specifically requested the investor's CEO to attend in person." My heart thumped. My sister, the woman who destroyed my life, was about to discover the truth. Not through gossip, not through a rumor, but by seeing me walk into her office building. Not as a job applicant, not as the girl she kicked out, not as the sister she stepped on, but as the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company and the lead investor her boss desperately needed. The moment was coming. The moment she would finally see the mountain I had built from the ashes she left behind. And I was ready. The morning of the pitch meeting arrived with a strange kind of electricity, quiet, steady, and impossibly powerful. I woke up before sunrise, not because of nerves, but because of something deeper. Today was the day everything would come full circle, the day my sister Maya would see exactly who I had become. As I got dressed, I chose deliberately. Not something flashy or overly luxurious, but a simple navy suit with clean lines and confidence stitched into every seam. The kind of outfit that didn't beg for respect, it commanded it. I tied my hair back, put on a light touch of makeup, and looked in the mirror. Not the girl she mocked, not the girl she kicked out, not the girl begging for a job. This was the CEO of LumiLearn, an investor, a woman who built herself from dust and discipline. "Time to end," I whispered. Stellar Dynamics towered above me, glass shimmering in the morning sun. The same building whose doors once shut in my face. The same lobby where Maya laughed behind my back. I remembered everything. Her voice slicing through the crowd. "You really look like a babysitter, Aria." Her friends giggling. The security guard asking me to step aside. My application form fluttering to the floor. But today, I walked through the revolving doors with a straight spine and an air of purpose that made heads turn. The receptionist looked up. "Good morning. How can I help you?" Before I could answer, Victor arrived behind me. "She's with me," he said. Investor entrance. The receptionist's eyes widened. "Of course, sir. Right this way." Investor entrance. The same door I wasn't even allowed to stand close to a year ago. We rode the elevator in silence. Victor glanced at me. "You ready?" "I've been ready since the day she locked me out," I replied. He smiled. "That's what I like about you. You don't rise for revenge. You rise because you're unstoppable." But he was wrong. Today, I was rising for both. The boardroom was massive, floor-to-ceiling windows, polished marble table, chairs arranged in perfect symmetry. Executives in suits stood around rehearsing lines and adjusting ties. But the one person I searched for wasn't there yet. The CEO, a stern man in his late 50s named Mr. Donovan, approached Victor with a firm handshake. "Victor, thank you for coming. We've been eagerly waiting to discuss the proposal." Victor nodded. "My pleasure. And this is our chief executive from LumiLearn, Aria." Every head turned toward me. Respectful, evaluating, curious. There wasn't a hint of the mockery I once faced. Mr. Donovan shook my hand warmly. We've read a lot about Lumi Learn. Your growth is extraordinary. Thank you for joining us. Happy to be here, I said, with a calm that even surprised me. As we took our seats, the door finally opened, and Maya walked in. For a second, she didn't notice me. She was too busy flipping through her notes, her fake corporate smile plastered on. Then she looked up and froze. Her pen slipped from her fingers, her face drained of color, her mouth parted in disbelief. Arya? She whispered. Every executive turned to her, confused. Victor glanced at me, raising an eyebrow as if to ask, "Is this her?" I kept my face neutral, professional, untouched. "Yes," I said softly. "Good morning, Maya." Her chair scraped loudly as she stood too fast. "What are you doing here?" Mr. Donovan stepped forward, annoyed by the disruption. "Ms. Maya, what's the issue?" She swallowed hard. "This is my sister." A murmur rippled through the room. I stood. "Correction," I said. "I'm the CEO of Lumi Learn, here to evaluate whether your company is worth an investment." The executives stiffened. Mr. Donovan's eyes flicked between us. Suddenly he understood. Maya looked like the ground had vanished beneath her feet. You run Lumi Learn?" "Yes," I let the word hang in the air. "Your company reached out to us for funding, and Victor thought it would be beneficial to attend." The humiliation on her face was the perfect mirror of what I once felt in their lobby, but sharper, heavier, public. The pitch began. Maya tried to compose herself, but her voice trembled with every word. She stumbled through slides, skipped key metrics, forgot half the figures, and mispronounced simple terms. Executives exchanged worried glances. Mr. Donovan's jaw tightened. Victor leaned toward me and whispered, "She's collapsing under pressure." I whispered back, "Not pressure. Truth." Finally, Maya ended her presentation with shaky hands. Silence followed. Victor turned to me. "Arya, any questions?" I nodded slowly. "Several." I asked hard questions. Questions about scalability, long-term revenue plans, technology inconsistencies, data security. She answered none of them clearly. And she knew it. Every time she looked at me, her eyes filled with dread. She wasn't facing her sister. She was facing the woman she once threw out like trash, now holding the fate of her project in her hands. After the meeting, executives left one by one. Maya lingered, trembling. I packed my notes, ready to leave, when she finally whispered, "Arya, can we talk?" I looked at her slowly. "I don't think we have anything to discuss." She stepped forward, desperate. "I didn't know you were doing all this. I didn't know you were successful." I met her eyes with calm steel. "You didn't care to know." She flinched. "You kicked me out when I had nothing. You stole everything Dad left me. You humiliated me in front of everyone. And for what? A job title? Your ego?" Tears filled her eyes. "Please, I was wrong. I'm so sorry." I picked up my bag. "You were wrong long before you said those things. But the worst part wasn't what you did." She looked up, confused. "What was the worst part? That you thought I would never rise." Her breath caught, her lips trembled, and in that moment the power dynamic flipped so sharply that even the walls felt it. Victor approached us. "We've made our decision," he said. Maya turned pale. "What is it?" He glanced at me. I nodded. Victor looked back at her. "We're not investing," Maya gasped. "Don't do this because of personal issues." Victor shook his head. "This is business. Your numbers, your leadership, your strategy, they're not strong enough." Then he added gently but firmly, "And Arya has nothing to do with this decision. The company simply isn't ready." Maya crumpled into a chair, silent, defeated, broken by her own choices. I walked to the door. Before leaving, I paused and looked back at her. "You stole my inheritance," I said softly, "but I've built something you can never steal." She raised her head, eyes red. "What's that?" "Self-worth." And with that, I left the room, leaving behind the sister who once threw me out and stepping into the world I built with my own hands.